get to the end of the season. Been a long season, to be fair. Or has it just been me? It felt like a longer season because I've been on because it's been pressure the entire fucking time.
I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed this one more than I did season 12.
I think I agree as well. So I'm yeah, I'm just a little bit disappointed how it ended. I think it's probably a better way of putting it. Let's see. Are we going? Is it actually going to realize that we are live?
It,
Will YouTube?
it has come up in the Steam link. So
Hey, YouTube's actually done something. It's a miracle.
it's a miracle.
Honestly, for those who aren't aware, for the tier 4 streams I did on Sunday, it was a fucking joke in the nicest way possible. I think I started up 5 streams before it actually caught up. Like I was actually live. Absolute joke. Before it actually caught up.
There we go. Joined. Right.
Alright, just typing in to chat real quick. Just wait for a few people to just
Oh, oh, the dude's here. He wants to do a trio.
how do you how I mean
And then we can't because
no, it
I'm on. We can't.
technically can happen because he's PS5
Oh, we could.
and PS5 allows you to do a share play and a share screen, I believe.
Fine. Alright, I'm down. Also, dude, whilst you're here, season 12, round 8 comms. Wink, nudge, you know.
If I remember right, I'm pretty sure I was having a share screen. Season 12, round 8 comms. Live after this. Dude's gonna go live at about 10 o'clock our time. And round 7.
Yes. But I don't care if it's like 12, 16 weeks late. I'm just happy it's out.
The funny thing is dude had one of the best title fights he's gonna get in forever and just didn't do it. Which is even funnier. I somehow wildly suspect that we're not getting a similar title fight tonight.
Probably not.
Given the fact that Dan has last time I checked, Dan has a quite considerable lead. Who's on comms with me? This is Gunmad in the box with me. Has been all season.
Good evening. The legendary Iggy himself. We have been blessed by the goddess.
Goddess. What?
What do you mean the stuff? Oh, hold your fucking horses.
What the hell's going on? When Winter Nations Cup commentary. If I can find most of the races at this point, I'll do whatever I can find. Oh
Oh,
God.
this is this is the best round we've ever done. I'm putting that out there now.
It's been 4 minutes. Pyro LFA around Tokyo. That's good. I guess if people can start finding the races around thing, I've got 4 weeks before actually have it, and then I'll have another Nations Cup tied on top of it. On gate, god damn it.
Yes. Well, the Lemon series that Perry hosted at the start of this season, well, just a week before, I had the LFA around Monza, and oh, that thing sounded pure.
Still got tier 4 to do as well. I am aware that there are 3 tier 4 races. I still cannot find them on. I don't know how hard I try. I cannot find Le Mans.
Really?
Which is why you didn't get Le Mans on Sunday when I actually had time to do it. And I would have had a double to do tomorrow, and I've got a half day tomorrow, so I actually have time. So if somebody can figure out a way that I can get to the Le Mans one, you'll have them all done tomorrow. Yeah, I can't find your deco. I can't find it. I have tried. Trust me.
I've tagged everyone in tier 4 so I can sort that out. I'm on a half day, so if you want, fuck it, we'll finish it off together.
Figure it out after doing tier 2. But yeah, I've got a job interview tomorrow somewhere else in Leeds. I think it's 9:30. So I'll be back realistically 11 o'clock. Hopefully have lunch when I get back. And then 12 while 4 do the knockout back to back to back tier 4. But nonetheless. Well, I'm being tagged. Why has dude invited me to play Rainbow Six Siege?
Why invited me to play Rainbow Six? I've not played that game for years.
It's funnier that we're both live on stream right now. You see, I would play that, Chris, right? I would play that, but I'm not going to because copyright, and I'm not risking it. So I'll leave that and watch that later on. But yeah, we are currently watching Tokyo, just about to get ready to actually do the sprint race. Let's go through the grid now then. We've had it descend into chaos for just a little bit. So Chris is on pole here in Tokyo in the Supra. Ben in second. Faxed in a McLaren in third, which is interesting. Dan in the fourth in the Lexus, I think. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Wedley in the BRZ in fifth, which is the highest I think I've seen him all season. Turbo Boy in sixth in the other McLaren. The McLarens in tier 2 actually found their ground after the first 3 or 4 races of the season. Asseldor in seventh in the second Lexus. Then you got FT1 and Dens in eighth. Claude in ninth. Ross in 10th. Broom in 11th. Pasty in 12th in the Mazda. Perry in 13th. Not a good start for him. And Hammers at the rear of the grid in a Corvette. So his tyres are going to fall off a cliff in the feature race later. Why am I getting random invites to random ass games now? Absolute chaos.
What do you mean, police simulator? There's a police simulator?
Also, Perry just asked if someone can upload. Asked if I meant now for people uploading Monza. No, I meant in a decade. You know, this is casual timings. Yeah, any time in the next half century will do.
Right, are we ready?
Right, I think we are. We've got 5 red lights, so it'll be going out pretty much as soon as I hit the go button here. And we're going... Now it's lights out, away we go here in tier 2. Going to get a better start. It looks like the answer to that question is Ben, and he's already taken the lead of this race. Chris is just dropping just a little bit in that Supra as we head down towards turn 2. Technically, because there is a turn 1 already, has already gone by. Let's see if everyone makes it through here, and it looks like everyone has.
You're doing better than tier 4. That's something.
That doesn't take much doing. You got Ben in first, Chris in second, our factor in third. So only change at the front of the first 4 was Chris and Ben switching as they head down towards the 90-degree turns now. Dan and our factor going side by side for third place. And it looks like Dan on the inside is just going to take that place fairly easily. Our factor line looks a little bit atrocious through the couple of corners. Then you got our back to Wedley in 5th. Ross has somehow got into 6th through all of this after starting in 10th.
I was going to say also going up to technically turn 3, Dens did make some ground, but he's now lost it. I think he went wide, I'm not sure. just missed it back there as we're going too wide into the tunnel.
We're going a bit more than too wide. Is it going to end badly? And somehow all of those survived. No one has damage. Oh no, Past is the only one with damage. Oh, what the hell is going on here? Let's have a second look at this. Potentially
there's been a murder.
Oh, Broomer just kind of squashes. Clawed into a wall there and somehow manages to keep that car going.
I probably think
Claus?
Claus. And where's Claus going?
Was it Claude that got squashed? I can't tell if it was Claude that got squashed or not. It looked like it was.
It was Claus.
He just bounced. I think he bounced off and just continued driving. Somehow, oh, we got bumped. That would explain it, and that would also explain why Den is right at the back now.
It would. Now, if we keep watching, I think Claus just takes the wrong line completely.
Just slightly. Oh, he's got into the pits! Oh, no. Claus, no. There's a corner there. Oh, Whack just went straight into the middle of that on the actual, in the actual feature race. I can't believe he got into that is... Wow, Claus has had a awful season.
He's not switched on much at all, is he? I kind of feel bad for him now.
He's had I think he might have had the worst season in Tier 2 I've ever seen anyone have. Currently just watching people go, just kind of watching further up the grid, Terrorboy and Asseldorf go at it. Terrorboy seems to have a thing for anyone around him just crashing at the moment. Asseldorf, is he going to be the same as we got Perry and Ross up ahead as well? And Asseldorf's going to hold on to that position against the McLaren, so...
Well defended from Macedon as we keep looking further forward. We've got Perry and Ross in 7th and 6th. Ross making a good start on that lap 1. Wesley still remaining in 5th. Going forwards, we've got Perry having a look at the inside of Ross on turn 3. Two teammates fighting it out. Not really what you want to be doing, as we got Turbo and Asseldorf side by side as well with a single file, and Ross still keeps the position.
Yeah, we've also not noticed at the top, so we saw the Dan move on Halifax earlier, but Chris has retaken the lead of the race from Ben in the opening couple of laps here in the Supra. Let's see if Chris can end Ben's unbelievable, or damage Ben's unbelievable sprint record this season.
Yeah, Ben's just been on fire on each of these sprints, hasn't he?
Hasn't he won 5 of the 6 sprints, the only one being, I think it was Fuji, the only other one that was different. I think it's Fuji or Laguna where Dan ended up winning the sprint, and Chris has had a bit of a mare on the inside down the hairpin in Tokyo, and Ben is just going to gladly accept the lead right back.
So, touching back on your previous conversation before somebody decided to take a visit into the barrier, the only sprint race that Ben has failed to win was round 5.
So it was Laguna. Okay, so Laguna's the only one out of 6 he's failed to win so far. He's looking to make it 6 from 7 in this one. Dan having a little bit of a touch with the rear quarter panel of Chris's car there. We'll see whether or not he has... These two managed to keep it clean through turn 1. It looks like that has been the case. You would expect that Supra has got more straight line speed than the Lexus behind him, but Slipstream is very powerful around Tokyo. Again, just a little bit of contact with the rear of the car. Chris just managing to hold Dan off for second right now. Dan now looking to the inside of Chris. Chris is still there. He's afforded all the space as Chris just drives into the wall and never really looked like he was going to get that car round. And yeah, Chris has dropped down behind Dan as Dan looks to minimise the amount of points that Ben gains in the championship in this race.
He does. Now, if Chris is smart here, instead of trying to attack Dan into the tunnel, he'd give him a bump, push him through the tunnel up the hill so they can close the gap up to Ben.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Move. But from the looks of things, I don't think that's going to be the case here. Looking at how Chris is going, Let's
It's
see what
almost
he
looking
does.
like he's trying to get around rather than actually helping out. And it looked like he's now defending from our Faxes, who's gone a little bit deep down the hairpin, and will have to just settle in behind Chris and Dan again. Wesley's in on his own little world there in 5th. Asseldor is somehow in 6th now. Ross and Perry having a bit of a thing going on as they go up the hill. Perry in 8th, Ross in 7th right now. You've got Turbo Boy and Hammers in behind as well. Just having a quick look at what happened in the chicane.
Hammers is
Perry
making
had
a fun. Ooh.
Oh, Perry had a little bit of a look to the inside of Ross there. I think they came together. But Perry's going to give Ross that position back without much of an issue. What about Hammers' company behind? It looks like Hammers has got ahead of Turbo Boy and Dens in 11th. Then you got Pasty in 12th, Broomer in 13th, and then Claude is, yeah.
He's still there. I'll just strike your attention, if I can, to Hammers. Hammers started at last, and he's now in 9th position after 3 laps, so that's great driving from him so far.
Yeah, he's definitely having a good go at this. He might be under threat from here from Turbo, though, as we're going into turn 1, now into turn 2 on the lap. Hammers is still going to be here up ahead of Turbo. Will have a better straight line speed than that McLaren as well. That McLaren is not the greatest in acceleration, so Corvette should still be able to hold its own. As we go up the hill now, as soon as I say that, Turbo Boy gets a far better exit, and I think he's actually ahead of Hammers now going into the 90-degree rights, and he is, and Hammers has lost out a couple of places here, or had, because Dens was on the outside, but Dens is too wide on the outside to actually hold that position against Hammers, and Hammers will hold on for 10th for a moment, but again, here comes Dens up the hill, and Dens is going to have that on the outside, and takes the position off of Hammers properly this time.
It looked like Hammers just scraped the wall a little bit, which might have impeded his exit, as we now got Perry and Ross side by side through the tunnel. We got Hammers having an attack on Dens. The two Genesis are bumping into each other. It's coming up to what I'm going to call Death Corner.
Yeah, why would you not bump each other through here? You got a faster straight line speed than the McLaren behind. You should be able to utilize that. But that hasn't been the case. Hammers has dropped behind Pasty and Broomer now as Pasty goes to the inside of Dens. Dens looking for a little bit of a switch back with his teammate there as well. And he isn't going to get it. And now Hammers and Broomer are going side by side up the hill.
This is great battling back here, just looking further forward, just on the leaderboard. Arfax has got ahead of Chris.
So it's Wesley.
Chris.
What's happened to Chris? It looked like he'd just been passed on pace by Arfax, and Wesley just goes down the inside there. Makes a nice little move there with the BRZ up in the 4th with Arfax directly in front of him. There might be a podium on the cards here for the BRZ, which is not something I feel I would say at the beginning of the season.
Has a little go at the top of the hill. Wesley just uses the cornering speed, and they're still side by side, but ultimately Wesley takes it over, coming up to the final part of the S's. I almost willing to bet money Wesley is having a big grin behind controller or steering wheel, whichever one he drives in that BRZ, because he's finally in a position to fight.
It only took 7 races of the season and wanting a different car to get to this point, but he's finally found a track where the BRZ might be actually viable. We'll see if that is actually the case later on. If he's got this kind of pace and the tyres to boot, should be a fairly nice race for him in the second half, as in the feature as well.
It should be. Looking further back, as we got Ross and Perry side by side coming up the hill towards turn 3. Ross has got the inside, Perry's on the outside, slightly ahead of his teammate. Here comes Turbo, having a little look around the outside.
What on earth is happening back here? Let's have another look at this, because that looked like 4 wide for a split second.
Everyone's...
Well, Dan's getting overtaken by his own teammate, who goes very deep, and that'll allow for Pasty and Hammers. These three are now going to go side by side, and Broomer loses out. Pasty also losing out to Hammers as Hammers jump back up into 11th. That's pretty nice driving from the 4 of them.
That was clean driving from all of them. Hammers just being in the right place at the right time. Now he needs to get his head down and try and chase down Dens.
Yeah, we'll see whether or not you can do that. Bearing in mind, 10th is reverse grid pole, so it is a rather important position to have as we go just over the halfway mark in the actual race, in the sprint race itself. We've got Hammers right all up over the back of this FT1 in a straight line. Also looking like a McLaren of Ross and Turbo Boy on the McLaren of Turbo Boy and Ross, sorry, going at it into the hairpin. Looks like Ross is holding on for that, and Dens is going to hold on for a split second longer here as well.
Yes, Dens holds the inside beautifully and not allowing Hammers to get the switch back. Ross again holds the position beautifully from Turbo as well. Hasseldawn sort of in his own little world. Chris has just gotten back past Wesley. So Wesley's still in the top 5, which is, I think, is its best result all season, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. That BRD's been a tank all season. But not in a good way. Here comes Chris, who's chasing down our Faxid, try and get himself on the podium. We'll see if he's able to manage that by the end of this race. As it stands, I'd say by the end of this race, he's done it by the beginning of lap 6. As he gets through past turn 2 and all the way back up into third. Our Faxid's not got straight line speed, so this isn't really going to be a fight back of any sorts into the 90-degree corners. As Ben is currently dealing in a little bit of the gap that Dan had built on him. 55.8 as it stands, also the fastest lap, so it'd be 16 points to 12. Because I'm pretty sure Chris had pole. So yeah, it'd be 16 points to 12 in the sprint. Next to 4 points gained from Ben, if he can manage to hold on.
Just looking a bit further back, it looks like Turbo's managed to get past Ross, which is the case. So something's happened to Ross because he's dropped right off. Ours has got past Dens, so we now got a 3-way fight for 9th. We then got another 3-way fight from, I think it's P12 no, 2-way fight, sorry, for P12. A little bit behind us as we've got Dens having a little look. He's having a look up the inside. Hammers has a little look up the inside of Ross. They all can't quite get there.
Hammers is going to try.
Hammers has got almost alongside Ross for a second there, but I think Ross has just got them better exit.
Yeah, it's the wider line. The wider line definitely gives you a better exit, but it allows you, puts you in a very peculiar position, I think is the best way of putting it. Oh, that did not look good. Hammers might have a bit of somehow all of the people avoided damage from hitting the walls going through those corners. Hammers again touching base with the barrier in the final corner. We go down the straight. Here comes Dens.
Dens and Hammers side by side. Dens just got a much better exit than Hammers. Coming out of that final corner, we go through turn 1, they're still side by side. Going up to turn 2, leave each other plenty of space. Hammer wall rides a little bit. This isn't NASCAR, my friend, this is Tokyo. So going down the hill, going up towards, well, I suppose it's technically turn 4 because I forgot about that little turn there.
Yeah, also got Broomer against Pasty here. We'll go towards the front in a minute because this seems to be where all the battling is. Broomer's going to go to the inside in the FT1, and Pasty and the Mad have not had a season to remember whatsoever.
No, he's lost his teammate sort of around, round 5 I think it was. He lost his teammate as Perry's in the wall.
Yeah, Turbo Boy ahead of Perry now as well. Hasseldawn 6th, next man up. And you've got, is that Chris with a penalty? It is Chris with a penalty. Let's see what that's going to do to Chris then, because our Faxid is not that far behind. Wesley as well, but I don't think Wesley's close enough for that half-second penalty to matter. But that half-second penalty gets taken on the straight at the final corner of the lap, which is an absolutely deadly penalty zone, given that some of the penalty zones we've seen this season. Absolutely deadly.
It is. Arfax has seen that and he's closed right up to Chris as well, so he's definitely going to lose the position to Arfax. I think he's going to keep it to Wesley. I think Wesley's just a bit too far back.
One good Essa section here might be able to bring him back though, so let's have a look. So Chris is about to serve that penalty. That means Dan's going to get a little bit more breathing room. And there's the penalty being served. Here comes the McLaren. Is it going to work? Is the McLaren going to get by? He's struggling for speed, but he is going to get by. Wesley is too far back for it to really matter.
So looking further forward, Ben has got a commanding lead over Dan. I wouldn't say commanding, I'd probably say comfortable. He can probably sit in cruise control now. And then got Dan in P2, we've got Arfax in P3, Chris in 4th, we've got Wesley in 5th. Usadorn again in sort of no man's land, we've got Arfax and Chris just over on the outside.
Yeah, but unfortunately for Chris, going around the outside is not what you want to do here. The inside line is far more prevalent, and Baxter is just going to take that straight back because you just simply cannot win the outside of the 90-degree corners here at Tokyo. It would take some excellent skill and, quite frankly, a ton more pace than who you're driving against for that to function. It's not the case here. Chris trying to get past our Faxon now on lap 8. We are about 15 seconds away from the end of the race, so this is the final lap. So it would make sense as to why he's not really pushing him here.
It would. Now Wesley's getting a double toe from these two, so if he has a good corner off, these two end up having a little bit of a battle coming into the hairpin, which they do.
A little bit of contact, maybe, just a little bit. The outside line, is this good enough for Chris to hold on against our Faxon? It absolutely is. Is he going to get it up the hill? The McLaren has not got a good straight line speed, so you would expect Chris to have it on the outside at this point in time, and yeah, he's going to shut the door there, and that should be enough to put the nail in the coffin for the podium here.
It should be, but let's not leave out Wesley. This is all twisty stuff, and that BRZ is a little whippet going around these corners, but I don't think it's enough. Although our Fax just kisses the wall, so this might give Wesley the opportunity.
We're going to go back very quickly because we may or may not have just missed the winner of this race. We'll come back to the battle in a minute. But Ben, look at that. Absolutely dominant again, and he makes it 6 of 7. Here is sprints in Tier 2, which is absolutely unreal. Nothing really changed in the end of the battle for third. That ended as it was. But yeah, Ben gaining 4 points here on Dan. Absolutely incredible driving from Ben after Chris dropped off just a little bit at the start. And yeah, 6 from 7. Tokyo adds another one to the list. Dan second, Chris third. Faxed in 4th, Wesley 5th, Asseldor 6th, the McLaren a terrible, he gets 7th, Perry gets 8th, Hammond gets 9th, and Dens rounds out the top 10. Will be on the feature poll for in an FT1, which could be fairly interesting.
It could be. Just want to point out again, I reckon Hammers has probably had the best sprint race just for positions gains because he went from last to 9th. So it's an excellent race from him. Ben doing exactly what he needed to do and getting past Chris as soon as possible and building up that gap. So well done. Well done to Ben for doing 6 of 7, and well done to Hammers for making up a lot of time.
Yeah, and now I'm just going to try and find the feature. There it is. Let's hope Askeldor's one there wasn't laggy, so...
Let's reload whilst we're here, if that's all right.
Yep. I'll just sort that out real quick. You probably want that.
Yep, it'd be good. Thank you.
Currently just getting toward the end of the loading here for Tier 2. We'll get into the feature race as soon as possible. It's currently 8 o'clock, which means that it might be a little bit of a stretch to do both, but we'll see if we can do. We'll see when this one finishes, and we'll go from there.
I think we can, but I definitely agree with what Viking said, and unfortunately I've got to say it, but Claus going into the pit lane at the hairpin has to be probably the moment for Tier 2 of the season, in my opinion. The save of the season still goes to Dan from Bathurst.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I'm still baffled as to how he saved it, but the clown move of the season currently in my mind, and then my vote goes to Claus.
Well, the most unfortunate point of the season goes to Claude, I reckon. I think
Yeah.
Clown knew was sealed after round 5.
Yeah,
But we'll
fair
go.
enough.
But yeah, that's that's probably a bigger clown move, I think, is a better way of putting it. But Claus is definitely an unfortunate moment of the season. We're just going to go through the grid real quickly here. So who's on what tyres? It's racing softs for Dens, racing softs for Hammers as well. So a couple of people realizing that maybe done a little bit of practice, realizing that there may be a potential. Well, I say there may be a potential to stop. That's not the case. It's going to be soft. And pray your tires don't die. That's the strategy for today. That's a certain. If we end up doing Monza as well, both racers will be in that kind of strategy realm. You know, Perry on softs in P3, Turbo on softs in P4, Asseldor on mediums is a interesting conundrum. I'm not entirely sure. It's one that he should have actually
He
uh,
might be going long.
assisted well.
He might be doing like an extended first stint because of his fuel, and then it's a very short pit stop. So then switch to softs near the end and have the tyre advantage.
Yeah, the issue is we say it's a short pit lane. It's not really that short of a pit lane. 17 seconds for just tires, not even counting fuel, and well, you don't actually lose like anything on the actual track itself because the pit lane encompasses half a corner. It probably takes longer to actually enter the pit lane than it does to actually take the corner normally. So it's not really going to be much of a benefit, this pit lane, thinking this is a short pit lane. It's deceptive. Very deceptive.
It is. We got Wesley on softs, so that'd be good, interesting one for him. We got Arfax on softs as well. Chris on softs. We then got Dan on the mediums as well.
So it's a Lexus decision, a team decision here from the Lexuses to get onto the medium tyres, which is, we'll see how that pans out. Softs for Ben, which is not too surprising, albeit his tyres will go off ridiculously quickly. Bruma's on softs, Ross is on mediums in the Genesis, Pasty on mediums in the Master. I thought the Master had good tyres. Interesting choice. And Claus on the softs in the back here. Well, let's hope the cord doesn't end up in a pit lane randomly again, as we're now heading toward the start of this feature race. 40 minutes here in Tokyo. I believe it is about 21 laps-ish. But Dender's going to get us away. Yeah, you might be right. The Dender's getting us away. Now we're over the line. Let's see how this is going to shape out down towards turn 1. Hammers in second. It looks like one of the McLarens is trying to pull away from the toe already to try and just break the momentum that anyone might be building behind. Nothing really happens through turn 2 on this race here. You go to turn 3. Everyone should be safe through here as we now head down towards the 90-degree right-hander.
We got Chris that's already passed Wesley as well. So we got Aston and Arfax in the battle. Wesley having a look up the inside of Chris. Not quite able to get his nose in there at the moment. We got Dan giving him a little nudge. Was that no one at the back's really changed positions either? So really the only one that's gained ground at the moment is Chris.
Yeah, just a couple of just a feeling out process, I think, through the first lap here. Everyone realised what happened in the first race and is just starting to work their way through it now and trying to figure out what they need to do for the second race. Ross is under pressure here from Pasty. Let's see, he'll go further up the grid real quick and if there's anything else to deal with right now. Turbo right on the back of Perry as well. I think we're going to actually...
going up the inside of Arfax. I'm just looking at the menu map to see if anyone's died. Seems everyone's gotten through there unscathed, which is good to see.
We've got multiple battles here. The two wides, it was Arfaxid and Asador. Arfaxid ends up winning that, but we've got the big one in the background with Dan and Ben, and I think Ben's going to come out on top of this one.
I think he's just swooped it around the outside, so an excellent move from Ben. Dan's
What is
lost out.
happening here? We've got yellow flags.
Whoa, Hammer. What's happened to Hammer?
We have yellow flags in the S's, which is never a good sign. Hammer's just getting a little bit out of sorts. Oh, too much.
There we go.
Oh, Andy just gets finished by Genesis as well.
Harry. He got quite lucky the fact that he ghosted there, and it's unfortunate because he's now just dropped pretty much all the way down to plumb last.
Perry got all the damage.
He did get all the damage, and here comes Asador and Chris, and I think it's Arfaxid as well. So we've got a huge battle for second right now.
Yeah.
Here comes Ben as well. Ben's getting into the mix. We got Dan coming up as well.
Hasseldor's going to take it because Hasseldor's up in the second right now. We'll see if Chris has got the straight line speed to try and pull himself against the beside the other McLaren. And it looks like we're going to go 2x2x2 straight into a wall.
That was a nudge.
You don't say. I think that might be a bit of an issue though. I would be very surprised if this one didn't go to the stewards. Let's have a look. A better view here because Turbo Boy is the McLaren in front of Chris. Oh, it's his own teammate. It's his own teammate.
That's not good at all.
Oh no, Ben's also Ben's ghosted all the way up into fourth somehow. I'm not entirely sure how. This is chaos. Okay, let's have a look at. Let's get a third view of this again. Our backs had killed his teammate. Weather goes to the inside here, gets up into fifth.
Ben just ghosts his way around the outside, ghosts through some cars. Arfaxid loses out. Dan
taps Ben. Yeah. Pretty sure Dan should have got a penalty for being on the inside, too far on the inside for the second 90-degree right-hander there. That was just absolute chaos.
And if we keep looking further back, it's just there's cars everywhere at the moment.
Broomer's managed to move up to 8th. Factored was all the way back here somehow. Turbo Boy here as well. Turbo Boy, somehow Claus is still just nowhere. I'm not entirely sure what has happened to Claus, but it's not a good day for Claus whatsoever.
Claus has not had a good day in the office today, as Hammers unfortunately loses out his second position, and he's now all the way down in 12th as we get another look into.
That's a bit deep there from Bastian. He almost ends Ross's race on the spot, and Hammers will take it.
He almost had a move like you and Geordie did in Tier 3.
Oh yeah, don't even have to remind me about that. That was a shunt and a half. Yeah, it's Chris and our Factor going at it. I think our Factor just made a move. Broomer up in the 7th as well, as he's just taking places and taking names and moving up the places just randomly here because people are trying to pick each other off. Let's have a look further up because I think Ben and Wedley are trying to go at it here. Hasseldor and Perry up in front as well. Wedley seems to have a far better exit than Hasseldor does through turn 2, and it's absolutely incredible there from a BRZ standpoint. But again, I think that the straight line speed of this might become a problem sooner rather than later, but you're going to actually have Hasseldor done pretty nicely here. Hasseldor goes deep. Hasseldor just about avoids both the cars, trying to put himself in a position in between that BRZ and the BMW here.
That was a fantastic move from Wesley, and as Ben just seems to get a better exit than Hasseldor, and Hasseldor's now has to defend. He just comes across before he brakes, which he's allowed to do, and Ben just has so much more grip because he's on the softer tyre.
He is also lagging around and doing a little bit of teleporting.
Something we've missed further back, but Broomer's got Dan, so he has a half-second penalty.
Bit overzealous on that one. Here comes Dan again, by the way. With or without the penalty, we might be about to see a couple of it. He's got Ben in the foreground. Ben in the background, sorry. Dan, who's going very deep and getting switchbacked in the close-up of the picture here. And Broomer's done a nice little move.
He has. Let's rewind that because I think Hasseldor and Ben had just had a pass going up into the hairpin right here.
Did Ben hang this around the outside? Did he? He did. You're right. What a move.
That was a fantastic move from Ben. Hasseldor kept it clean. Now Ben's released to attack Perry and Wesley.
Can I just say that Dens is, you know how I said Dens in the FT1 might be an issue? He's gone.
He's taken the early flight to Italy.
He's out of the picture entirely. There you go. You can see him with a small little blip in the radar down at the back of the screen, as we're currently seeing if there's any battle. Bruma gets overtaken by a couple of people here. Actually, Hammer's also going by after the penalty, and he's lost 4 positions in just one, 3 or 4 positions here in one penalty there, Bruma.
He has. Hammer's recovering himself back up well. We got Ross in 11th. We got Turbo in 12th.
They might be about to go at it.
Yep, they probably are. We got Pasty just behind these two. And unfortunately, Claw's bringing up the rear a little way away, but we won't shame it too much. We got Ross doing a great job defending the inside. That might be a penalty.
I think he might be fine. I think there's a couple of cars up ahead though that might have had a bit of an issue. Let's have a look. Dan gets dived again. Chris goes a bit deep. Dan's going to try and hang it on the inside. A little bit of a switchback here. And the McLaren trying to make his way through it off exit. You can't get away with that. You're entitled to make a move there if you can make it stick, but you're not going to get away with that. You're just
Dan's got front left damage now, so he's going to struggle for in the next sort of 10 to 12, 20, 30 seconds. Yeah. And I believe he's out of slip from that FT1 as well, so he's really going to struggle.
He's about to be swallowed up.
I was going to say that, and here comes Ross to save the day.
Ross actually bumping him as well, so yeah, Dan's going to have a little bit less, the pain just a little bit lessened here. A little bit of a further fight up front.
Here comes Ross for a little look up the inside, and Ross, I think, gets it. Sorry to drag your interrupt. He does.
He does. Yeah, it's a little bit further in front as well. And I think we might have had a move for second. We're going to go rewind 10 seconds here. We did. Here comes Wedley and Ben. Let's see what Ben's done here. Ben's going to have he's just got such a run against Wedley. A little bit of contact. But that's a ridiculous level run against that BRZ.
That is, he's almost got that engine tuned up to 110% power current at the moment, hasn't he? Just swooped around the outside of a BRZ.
Yeah, he literally just passed like he didn't even exist.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And I certainly think that Ben's going straight up to tier 1 as soon as anyone sees that video.
My question is lap 5, we're 8 minutes into this race. Ben's front left is not looking healthy.
Yeah, that sounds about right for Ben.
It does.
Well, you're going to have to go about 10 laps here, so unless you're doing medium soft, which is inherently not the greatest strategy in the world around this track.
It's not.
As we can all...
I just had a little look at the mini map. Looked like Asselton had a little look. Oh, never mind. Here comes Perry. Perry having a little look up the inside. As there's no being shoved into a wall, which is good this time, and Asseldawn keeps the place.
There you go. That's how.
Someone messed up. Someone messed up behind you. Just here. Who was that?
Is this the yellow flag? Is this the sprint? No, this is the feature. Let's have a look. Is there a bigger issue in the background here? Oh, it's Chris. Yep, it's Chris. We got a perfect view of that one. Chris dropping all the way from 7th to 9th at the moment. He just got that all sorts of wrong.
Sorry, I just spotted that on the little mini-map on the bottom.
Yep, no, that is fair. Asseldawn, this is the feature that we're currently on at the moment. We're watching our back to try and push Perry through a little bit here. Perry's starting to line up on the against that Lexus. The Lexus on the medium tires right now with the... Oh, what on earth is going on here?
What was that? That was a line I've never seen.
He somehow made the move. I'm not entirely sure how he's made that stick. He's got damage. He's managed to crash in a straight line.
This is tier 2. This did happen at Laguna Seca, if you remember at the start of the sprint race where everybody crashed.
Yeah, that also draft back to manage to overtake in a straight overtake after crashing in a straight line. It is impressive in its own right.
Hasselton's got damage. Did he get pushed out to the wall?
Maybe. We're not going to go back and have a look. Bruma's Bruma's in 8th right now. Hammond's in 7th after Chris's accident. Chris has managed to lose all the damage now. Ross in 10th. Turbo Boy in 11th after Turbo Boy got killed by his teammate earlier on in this race. It's really not been a clean race by our factors standards at all. That's. I mean, he's got 2 incidents against him if people report, and he pushed himself into a wall in a straight line as Turbo Boy gets past Ross down the straight there.
As he gets past Dan as well, so Dan's all... Oh, no, never mind.
They're fighting overzealous on that again. And Pasty's going to just have to slow down a bit because Dan has no control over his car whatsoever. Somehow manages to get through that.
He does. I'm coming out of that little container unit area, whatever you want to call it. Ross just kisses the wall on the exit. Dan's not having a good feature. His championship rival's in 2nd. He's in 12th.
Yeah, and also Claus has quit out of the lobby, whether that be disconnect or whatever. But honestly, at this point of the season, I'm not sure I can say I blame him. Here comes Dan against Ross. A little bit further up. Let's have a look. Is it going to be the outside line that proves beneficial? Is he going to swing underneath? He's going to try and swing underneath. Has to be aware of Pasty's existence as they now go up the hill. Who's going to have the better exit? It looks like the speed on the Genesis is going to be ever so slightly too much, but is it going to be enough by the time we hit this corner? Because Dan's inevitably going to keep himself on the inside, and yeah, Ross is going to shut the door there. That's pretty nice defending, having to force Dan into a situation he didn't want to be in.
That's great defending and great driving from both drivers. Yeah, and I'm just looking at...
That's a bit of sparks there by Ross. And this is going to be Dan. This is just going to be straight. I'm in chase cam because we were looking at an incident and I hadn't actually switched it back. That's what it was. We were too busy looking at our Faxid's drive into a wall and hadn't switched it back. So, nice reminder. Ross having a bit of an issue there. Dan gets over past him, and I think Pasty might be having a good run here as well. Pasty's got one hell of a run on that Genesis. And Pasty should have a good... Oh, he's going to try and send it onto the inside to Dan as well. And he's going to get it. He's going to get this.
Ross is going to try and follow through. And no, Dan shuts the door on Ross. And Dan's all over the back of Pasty.
Absolute chaos. So you've got Turbo Boy in 10th in front. You need to have a figure... Turbo Boy in 10th. And then you've got Hammond in 9th. So Chris is starting to work his way back through. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, so Hammond's and Turbo Boy losing out to Chris. Chris now in 8th. I would have expected Turbo Boy to be in a better position by now, but obviously after being killed by your teammate, it's just a recovery drive.
From this point onwards.
Yeah, it looks like we might have attempted a move further up the field.
We got Brummer and Asseldorn side by side through the hairpin. Brummer looks like he gets it done. They leave each other room. Was that someone's in the pits? I think that's Ben in the pits.
Yes, it is. Yeah, our Faxid up in the second. Our Faxid had also overtaken Wesley since the last time we saw the front of the field. Most of the chaos that's happening at the back. Asseldorn up in the 5th. Brummer in 6th. Chris in 7th right now. Chris is definitely starting to work his way back through. Perry is clear of these 4, 5.
Brummer has a little bit of a drift on coming out of that last corner. This is now going to be Chris's chance to have a look towards turn 1. From the looks on the minimap, they're side by side at the moment. And Chris grabs the place. He's still just about ahead. Brummer's just about there. Chris shuts the door going into turn 2.
Yeah, the Supra versus the FT1. And not going to be complaining here from Chris. He'll take that. Moving up into 6th, trying to get himself back through the pack, get himself toward the front. We know that Ben's having an awful race in terms of tyres. It's really enforced. Here comes Brummer again, maybe a bit too deep, and another point in this race where cars are going to swing underneath him, and he's only lost the place to one of them this time. He's got to be careful because he keeps braking too late, and he's opening the door for every other person within a half-mile radius of overtaking him.
And also he's braking a bit too late, and if the car turns in ahead of him, he's just going to take them out. So he's got to be careful when he's overtaken. So we got Chris having a look on Alcedon going through the tunnel. I think, well, it's going to be Chris anyway. It's Lexus versus the Supra. We know how this is going to end.
Yep, and it's a Supra on medium tyres as well. Lexus on medium tyres as well, sorry. And yeah, they never really stood a chance there. Sitting duck for Chris on the straight. Brummer should be in the good shot afterwards as well. We got a bit of a move.
Hammer, sorry, we got Turbo and Hammer at it, and Turbo seems to. Ooh, whoa, what's
that? Oh! And this is why we don't have the TV camera angles, because they get blocked by a wall. God damn it. Let's have a second look at what actually happens here. Oh, Hammers hits him. And then, oh, it's Assador as well.
Oh, Hammers, that's not good, mate.
Yeah, he is.
He's holding up, he's waiting. So.
Fair play for waiting. He didn't really have much of a choice. He just straight up punted Brummer into oblivion. Almost took Assador as well. That's allowed for Turbo Boy to gain 3 positions for the price of 1, apparently.
He does, and Assador just now outside the top 5, and Chris is up into the top 5, so both Lexuses are struggling a little bit. Now, maybe going on the medium tyres might have been the wrong call, but we'll have to wait and see what their strategy does, as Wesley has the fastest lap at the moment.
In a BRD, may we add.
Yeah. Sorry, can we just have a little look? Where does Ben come out? Because Ben pitted 2 laps ago, and where did he come out?
Right at the back. What? Right at the back, with the fastest lap of the race.
Is he doing a 2-stop?
1, he is doing a 2-stop, and 2, they said it before, the pit line is deceptively long. It is far longer than you'd give it credit for. Just tyres is 17 seconds. And you don't, bearing in mind, the pit lane, because the orange line at the end of is an extension to the hairpin, as Ross and Pasty are going at each other. We'll just talk about this fight before we go back to talking about strategy in the pit lane. Hammers having a bit of an issue.
Hammers has got a terrible exit, and here comes Ross around the outside. As well, we've got Dan that's got Brummer as well, so Dan making up good spots as Hammers gives Ross a little bit of a push coming out the exit. Ross is going to say thank you to that. He's going to get tucked right up onto these two. The FT1 tucked right in the slipstream of Dan here. The Lexus does not have high enough top speed to fight that FT1, so we'll have to see how this goes up to the hairpin.
If Brummer's got any common sense, I was about to say he would go to the inside to try and make a move here on down into the hairpin. It looked like he's going to go into the pits. And that's about as clean of a pit lane entry as you're ever going to get, by the way.
We've got Hammers in as well, so this is going to, well, release Pasty.
Yeah. But yeah, as I was saying before, the pit lane is an extension to the hairpin. So what the hell has happened to Pasty there? Bit deep into the section. Yeah, and which means it takes longer than the actual corner itself to get into the pit lane. So you're losing time there. And the pit lane itself is 17 seconds.
Save.
Yeah, he's done well.
Sorry.
Definitely done well there.
He has. If you've got Ross going up the inside of Pasty, coming up towards turn 2, and job done by the apex. No real sort of fight there from Pasty.
Nope, he's going to have to try and fight this back immediately after. Honestly, Ross should be fine here. Ross, comes over a little bit. Can't tell if that was a little bit reactionary or not. Maybe just early enough to not call it reactionary, but he gets away with it nonetheless. Those two staying in their positions. Dan currently in 8th, and then we got Turbo Boy, Chris, and Perry up against each other, and then R-Factor and Wesley just a little bit away from each other. Perry's got the wall, and here comes Chris with an exit, with a run, and all the way down into the tunnel. He had the position as well with a little bit of dead tyres on that left-hand side.
Yes, I'm expecting now a lot of people to come into the pits. We're at lap 10. We're coming up the halfway point.
I was about to say, this is the strategy point. This is halfway through 10, and in comes Dan, then comes our back to Wesley. Chris stays out.
On dead tyres. Interesting. Who else stays out? Assadorn stays out. No surprise. Dan stays out. Again, no surprise. Ross and Pasty stay out as well. Ben obviously stays out.
Ben's on the 2-stop. The 4 guys further in front of Ben are all on medium tyres and are expected to stay out. We're going to actually go back to Ross and Pasty real quickly. Wedley stayed out on soft tyres as well. We'll go and take a quick look at Wedley tyres after we finish up with the S's section here. Is that Dan? Yeah, that's Dan.
Gets a little sideways again, and I think Dan just gets a bit of a bad exit somewhere because Ross is now catching up to Dan.
Yeah, and we'll just have a look at Wedley's tyre. Yeah, Wedley's front. Oh, Wedley got damage! Where did he get the damage? He had it beforehand, so he must have made a mistake in the S's.
Must have. I was going to say that there's only left-hand turns after the last corner, so unless he's just clobbered into the wall on the front straight.
Yeah, something tells me it would have stayed a little bit longer if it was on the front straight. The damage has disappeared now. Again, he's got some tyre, I guess, on that front left, but it's not. I'm not sure it's enough to justify staying out. But we'll see what the strategy does. The people going for the overcut instead of the undercut. I thought the end of lap 10 would have just been standard practice.
I know. Well, actually, no. I'll save that. As we got Asseldon's tyres not looking too great, but he's got a lot more fuel than everyone else. Dan's in about a similar position as we got Ross actually in a better position with less fuel.
Yeah, unsurprising. Better tyres on.
Is that Ben on Pasty? Let's have a look. Let's go back a little bit.
He's just not close enough yet. He will be when he gets those soft tyres with Pasty, and surely there's not enough fuel in these cars. Maybe one more if you're lucky. Pasty's in as well. Ben has decided that. No, Ben decided to invent a new corner.
There's Ross stays out as well, as we got the 2 Lexuses that stay out. So we got Ben as the current. Oh, after maybe this lap on the next lap, Ben is the race leader with Dens is probably, I reckon, a net race lead.
Well, I was about to say, yeah, Dens and our factory company don't have to pit again. Ben, Ross, Dan, and Astrodor all do. So technically, it'll take those 4 away right now because they are not at the top of the actual race standings, as we got Ben about to go around the outside of Ross here. And is he going to get it? Ross breaks very early there. Ben just taking a nice little leisurely stroll on the outside to take that position off him without much of a hassle.
He does. I think Ross has realised that Ben's not his fight. I think he's just let him through so he doesn't lose time.
Yeah, Dan does a comfortable lead to our factor. Turboy is the next car out after that. We'll figure out where everyone else settles into this kind of situation. But Turboy has managed to recover this extremely well after being killed by his own teammate.
He has, as he's being pressured by Perry going up the hill, coming towards turn 3. Turbo defensively moves to the inside. Perry has a little look around the outside, looks for the switchback, not able to get it. Turbo does a beautiful job covering it off. Perry has to unfortunately stay in behind that McLaren going up towards the straights. We got Chris not far behind them. So look, Chris has jumped Wesley in the pits.
Yes, he has, and not far behind him is a little bit of an understatement. That is the Genesis up ahead. But Perry in the 90 degree, if he wanted Turbo Boy there, he should have been looking more aggressively for a little bit of a switchback. Astrodor now into the pits. In comes Dan. Astrodor's got significantly better fuel than Dan does, and is currently ahead of him on track as well. Here comes Chris on the outside of Perry, which could be very interesting. We're staying. Turbo Boy goes very deep as well.
Here comes
Chris. He saved him. He somehow saved him. Fair play.
Fantastic save. And this brings out the people who have just pit, both Lexuses that just pit. This brings them right behind this group.
Yeah, and well, Wedley back into the fight with Chris, and will inevitably be Perry sooner rather than later now because of the contact just up ahead. It has brought our Faxid, I think, is that our Faxid? No, Turbo Boy, sorry, in the McLaren, and more than enough space here to not have to worry for the next so many laps.
Just want to say, just before the both Lexuses went into pit, Ben did get past Dan. We did miss that. So Ben has now got quite a large lead of Dens. What's happened to Hammer?
Hammers came out of the pits. Obviously, he went early, so he's actually gaining positions. Hammers, I believe so anyway. And wasn't he down towards the back before the pits? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
But yeah, he was definitely nowhere near Asseldor before pits. I can tell you that much.
So the overcut kind of working for him a little bit, but Asseldor's got a lot fresher tyres. I'm looking at his lap times on the right. I'm thinking they're about, what, 3 laps fresher?
Yes. 3 laps, yeah, almost exactly. One pitted on the end of 9, the other one pitted on the end of 12. So you would be right in that. I don't know how Hammond is going to make this this tyre last the entire rest of the race to do a one-stop. That's going to be his only issue.
I think he's going to have some tyre issues as we look a little bit further ahead. We got quite a gaggle of cars coming up to the hairpin now, as we got Brummer now being pulled into this fight for 5th.
Yeah. For those who are just joining us now and wondering why we're in chase cam, because TV camera apparently likes wolves a lot here at Tokyo, and I'm not prepared to watch a wolf for 40 minutes.
Once we can comment on the interesting detail on the backs of the wall.
I spent too much time in the wall at Tokyo. I don't want to see any more of them. I still somehow podiumed this race, even after getting killed on lap 1. But yeah, we've got Brummer and Wedley right beside each other here. You've got Chris in front of that. I think it's Perry, the car, just kicking up a little bit of sparks there. And it is Perry kicking up a little bit of sparks out of turn 2. We'll see if Chris is going to be able to take advantage of this now.
I think he's going to have a little look.
He's just a bit too far back. He also got a little bit of a late break as well. You'd probably want to avoid that as much as possible. As you said earlier, the late breaks with what caused the incidents, and it's not very easy to recover anything. After Perry there again into the wall, and this, we're still going to see a carbon copy of what we saw earlier on in the race. Here comes Chris again, and here comes Chris into the tunnel ahead of Perry again.
Excellent move from Chris, capitalised on Perry's mistake, needed to move before death corner, as here comes Ben in for, I think it's going to be his final stop. So where's he going to come out? If you say it's 17 seconds for just tyres, I reckon he's going to have to be bringing in fuel as well. As we've got Perry having a look up the inside of Chris on their hairpin. Perry gets the job done, blocks Chris in, and Wesley's having a little look now. Wesley's still in the mix.
Yeah.
He's not too far out.
And to answer your question, there's where Ben's coming out. Comes out ahead of Pasty and Ross, but in no way in a race lead fight.
No, but importantly for Dan, and I think once Dan's finished fighting Hammers, he's behind. He's ahead of his champion rival. Sorry, as Ben
And there goes Dan to the inside of Hammers in the final corner. Hammers goes a little bit too deep, and it's a nice little move there to put a buffer between Dan and Ben.
It is, and he's got his teammate up ahead, so team orders might be a thing between the two Lexus drivers. It's happened before.
Wouldn't be too surprising. All the points or Dan needs all the points he could possibly muster up at this point, just to cover up the title for.
Here comes Hammer having a little look up the inside. Ben's not far behind. Ben's managed to grab the toe from Hammer, so now Ben's in this fight for 8th as well. So Dan really has to get his skates on now.
Yeah, and it didn't look too great there. On the exit, he's just not going to get Hammers up here. Hammers is going to potentially have to get on the brakes a little bit early. This might be one we just saw carbon copy a lap prior with Chris and Perry, and here comes Ben. No, Ben is backing off. It looked like he may have got the gearing just a little bit wrong in the BMW there, and he'll just let himself drop right back in behind Hammers and take the slipstream and figure out what's next afterwards. Here comes the potential team orders that you just mentioned earlier. Dan is just going to go to the inside, and there is absolutely no fight back from Astrodor whatsoever in the battle there. So 2 cards worth of a buffer between Dan and Ben now.
Which is perfect for Dan, so Dan's now got free air to go and start chasing Wesley as we go.
Battle up here.
I was going to say, we missed something. Brummer was behind Wesley, and now Wesley's in 7th, and Brummer's behind Perry, so we've missed something.
We've missed something, but I don't think Brummer cares, because he's up in the 5th, and he's got a run, or a potential run here. Against Perry, but so is Chris on Brummer as well. He's gonna get boxed in here, Chris. I think Chris might be about to get boxed in into turn 1. Brummer goes a little bit on a little bit of a deep run there, and Chris is just going to take advantage.
I think there was a little bit of contact mid-corner there between Brummer and Perry. Is Brummer going to push Chris? Brummer is going to push Chris.